So this is going to be very fascinating. This just crossed my desk. It's going super viral on TikTok from either this morning or late last night. Guji Pooj on TikTok. Go give her a follow here. Great work. Is replying to someone's comment, which says, the comment says, hey, this is all great, but did anyone check the metadata of the New York Times article?
A storm is brewing in Hollywood, and it's sending shockwaves through both fans and critics. There's mounting speculation that the New York Times, one of the most respected news outlets in the world, may have coordinated with Blake Lively's camp to take down Justin Baldoni. The mere suggestion of such an alliance is enough to make anyone stop in their tracks. Viewers are glued to every update, wondering if this apparent gotcha moment proves once and for all that mainstream publications sometimes pick a side long before the public knows anything. At first glance, it seems unbelievable, but the evidence popping up on social media is painting a picture that has everyone questioning what's really going on behind closed doors. The conversation starts with a single, innocuous phrase: check the metadata. If you haven't heard of metadata, it's essentially behind-the-scenes information embedded in digital files, like timestamps and file labels. These hidden clues can be extremely revealing, especially when it comes to date-sensitive stories. In this case, a sharp-eyed TikToker notices that images tied to a New York Times article about Blake Lively's legal complaint are hosted with dates preceding the story's official publication. That discovery sets off a chain reaction of shock and speculation. Why does it matter if a photo hosting date is labeled before the complaint is filed in court? Critics argue this detail suggests the Times is preparing a story well in advance, far earlier than the official filing date. In other words, they may have had a copy of Blake's complaint days before anyone else, including the public. If true, that implies a level of coordination that goes beyond normal journalism. Media outlets do often prepare articles ahead of time, but usually they request comment from all sides, fact-check, and then publish only once everything is official. So, if the images are stamped and locked in even before the complaint is publicly known, it begs the question, was there a heads-up given by Blake Lively's team? People online become amateur sleuths overnight, dissecting every possible angle. They find one image labeled with a date that looks suspiciously early. Then they see another, and another. Suddenly, a narrative emerges that the entire article is pre-packaged in a neat little bow, ready to launch the moment Blake hits the go button. Fans of Justin Baldoni see this as a red flag, whereas supporters of Blake Lively dismiss the metadata as a routine process in large newsrooms. Still, the conversation grows louder. Is there a smoking gun proving collusion? The timeline is where everything gets more complicated. Typically, when someone files a complaint, especially if it involves big Hollywood names, media outlets scramble for the story. They try to confirm details, secure a statement from both sides, and produce their coverage with the speed that today's digital age demands. However, rumors swirl that the Times didn't give Justin Baldoni enough time to respond before running the piece, if they reached out to him at all. Meanwhile, the complaint allegedly appears in the Times just hours after Blake officially files it, making some suspect the newspaper had everything ready for publication well in advance. Imagine waking up to headlines about yourself tied to major accusations you haven't even seen yet. That's what Justin's supporters claim he experiences. They say he is blindsided, with no chance to review the final article or provide his side of the story. From a legal standpoint, if a publication wants to maintain credibility, it typically attempts to contact all parties involved. The debate escalates when a snippet of rumor emerges. Certain sections in the article reference points that only Blake's side would know. That sets social media on fire with the question: did Blake's legal team leak the complaint? People following the story point out an additional layer. The standard media practice is to cross-check. If a complaint contains serious allegations, no responsible outlet would publish it without ample time for a rebuttal. So, if the Times piece is live on their site, loaded with high-definition images and infographics, just hours after a formal legal filing, it might indicate that those pieces have been in the works for days. That leads to one explosive conclusion: the Times and Blake Lively's team are working hand in glove. Some now view the entire chain of events as a full-scale coordinated campaign, orchestrated by Lively's camp. Her critics claim she is leveraging her public image to control the narrative, ensuring major outlets present only her version of the story. The second half of the argument points the finger at the New York Times, implying the newspaper willingly cooperates by presenting a one-sided take. Why would the Times agree to something so risky, especially when their reputation as a serious publication hangs in the balance? Some speculate it's about getting an exclusive angle on a sensational story, which could drive massive traffic and reader engagement. Others suggest there could be deeper alliances in play, though no one has concrete evidence of that. Still, the swirling rumors don't die down, particularly as more people comb through the article, highlighting areas that appear to rely solely on Blake's perspective. At this point, mainstream journalists start stepping into the conversation, questioning the ethics on display. They talk about how a typical fair process involves checking each fact, giving both parties room to respond, and verifying all claims. Doubt only grows when independent commentators speak up, saying they receive no outreach from the Times despite being directly named or implicated in certain stories. All of this fuels the notion that something bigger might be happening behind the scenes. As the pressure mounts, internet communities kick into high gear. Platforms like TikTok and Twitter come alive with threads, videos, and investigative breakdowns. It's not the first time everyday people challenge a major publication, but it's a unique situation because the alleged manipulation is so straightforward to track via digital breadcrumbs. These investigators screenshot everything: links, file names, archived versions of web pages, to create a timeline. Some even consult digital forensics experts to confirm the reliability of the dates embedded in the files. Suddenly, the story shifts from, "Is Justin Baldoni in trouble?" to, "Is the New York Times manipulating narratives for high-profile celebrities?" That's a far more dramatic turn, and it captures the public's imagination. There's a sense of unity among independent sleuths, as though they're rallying to expose a hidden deal. Skeptics warn that speculation can spiral out of control, and not every suspicious date stamp is a smoking gun. Still, the momentum is undeniable. People want answers, and they're determined to keep investigating until they get them. As though the story isn't wild enough, swirling rumors point toward potential tension involving Ryan Reynolds. Sources that are anything but official imply he might be worried about alleged off-camera chemistry between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Some even suspect that personal jealousy drives the more aggressive aspects of Blake's legal and public relations strategy. Of course, these rumors remain just that: rumors. Neither Lively nor Reynolds publicly addresses such claims, and no direct evidence confirms any impropriety. Nevertheless, the speculation adds another layer of intrigue to a case already overflowing with drama. In the midst of these theories, various commentators inject their own perspectives. One online personality suggests that the entire fiasco stems from a jealous fit. Another points to possible misinterpretations of on-set intimacy, especially when romantic scenes are involved. Justin Baldoni's side doesn't weigh in on these personal angles, presumably focusing on the legal battle. Still, fans latch onto the idea that something deeper than just a professional dispute is at play. Is it a case of a protective spouse going to extreme lengths, or is it all just a convenient narrative for tabloids? No one knows for sure, yet the conversation keeps intensifying. Now comes the high-stakes portion of this saga. Justin Baldoni is reportedly firing back with major lawsuits. Rumors swirl about the jaw-dropping figures: hundreds of millions of dollars sought from Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and the New York Times. People wonder if these sums are realistic or just a negotiating tactic. Still, the possibility of a $500 million lawsuit is enough to keep the public riveted. Legally, the crux of the matter could hinge on whether the New York Times published false or misleading information about Baldoni without giving him a fair chance to respond. If he can prove defamation or a coordinated smear campaign, the financial repercussions for all parties are enormous. On top of that, there's the potential blow to the Times' credibility if they're found to have participated in strategic leaking. Blake Lively's team, of course, denies these allegations. They maintain that any suggestion of wrongdoing is nonsense and that they followed proper procedures. But even if no court ever rules in Baldoni's favor, the public relations fallout might already be harming the parties involved. Observers note how swiftly opinions turn when there's even a hint of unethical practice. Large platforms, from network news shows to YouTube channels, dissect the story daily, never missing an opportunity to highlight each new twist. The real danger for everyone is that an ordinary legal dispute has exploded into an all-out war in the court of public opinion. Right now, the spotlight is glaring, and the questions only multiply. Did the New York Times secretly build its coverage around Blake Lively's narrative before Justin Baldoni even saw the complaint? Is there truth to the speculation about personal tensions and hidden agendas? Or is this entire debate just another example of the internet's tendency to fill gaps in the story with theories, even when hard proof remains elusive? What's clear is that the public's trust in mainstream media is on the line. Each new piece of evidence that surfaces, each suspicious date stamp, each unverified rumor fuels a growing skepticism about how news is gathered and reported. At the same time, many wonder whether we're too quick to accept that every big publication is compromised. Could these anomalies have simple explanations we aren't seeing yet? The stakes are high, and there's no telling how many more surprises are coming. Behind the scenes, legal teams for Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and the New York Times are undoubtedly racing to control the narrative. As more self-styled detectives jump in, the drama intensifies, raising the possibility that critical documents or statements might leak. If that happens, it could either vindicate the Times or confirm the worst suspicions about unethical backroom deals. One thing's certain, it's no longer just about a disagreement between former colleagues or a single lawsuit. It's about trust in journalism, fairness in legal battles, and the power of public perception to shape outcomes well beyond the courtroom. All eyes remain fixed on the next move. Will the Times issue a statement clarifying their editorial process? Will Blake Lively's team produce new evidence to prove her allegations against Justin Baldoni? Or will Baldoni's side reveal more data that points to an orchestrated smear campaign? No one knows, but the answer might come sooner than we think. Until then, the speculation rages, the debates continue, and the tension keeps building. Because in a celebrity-driven world, truth and rumor often collide in ways that leave everyone guessing. For now, the final word is that this controversy isn't going away. The metadata question lingers, the lawsuits loom, and the public's appetite for the next chapter grows stronger. Whether you believe there's proof of a coordinated takedown or you remain skeptical of internet-driven theories, one fact remains. This story stands at the crossroads of fame, power, and accountability. And what happens next could redefine how we view the media and each other in the process.